Welcome everyone. We're back for another Obsidian office hours. And so today I'm really excited because what we're going to be doing is we'll be doing the usual ecosystem updates as highlights, but we're going to be diving into one of my favorite plugins, which is Dataview. So if you've been following this for a little bit, you know we've talked about it here and there, but given as I'm starting to get better at uploading content to YouTube and that kind of thing, I thought we'd do a bit more of a review for those who might be newer to sort of the Obsidian ecosystem as well as the plugins. But more importantly, I want to dive specifically into the JavaScript API because I've started to run into some limitations of my own with the Dataview plugin, and I was always wanting to do a little bit more, and I've always kind of hesitated because I was like, oh, I don't have the time to figure it all out. Well, you know what? This is what this office hours is for. So for today, I'm really excited to do a deeper dive into the JavaScript side of Dataview because, again, it's one thing to do quick queries as far as like lists, tables, and that kind of thing. But I do think, especially as we start to use our nodes inside of Obsidian as more of a database, we want a little bit more flexibility as far as how things are being rendered to the screen. Because based on sort of principles in Obsidian when it comes to note taking, which I'll explain as we go, like it can end up with cluttered views and stuff. So I'll explain all of that basically as we go through today. Okay, let's jump right in, shall we? Oh, whoa, the chat is in my face. All right. So resizing it a little bit here. Oh my gosh. So yeah, so Loud Dove here, apparently it does not work in publish. Yeah, so that is one of those things where like Obsidian Publish, I love the concept of it as far as being able to publish my notes, but I do use a lot of, like Dataview is a really big part of it for me, for making my life easier. So again, this won't be the first time I've pleaded with the maintainers through the stream, although granted, I probably should just submit a ticket, but like, it would honestly be great if they could just submit, like, open up like the API so that we could just ingest it in our own individual static site generator so I could do more custom stuff with it. That's personally what I would want, honestly. Okay, so with that, let's start with high-level ecosystem updates. So there haven't been any new releases, so if you haven't been keeping up, no worries, you haven't missed anything. But as far as the roundup goes, let me pull that over here. Basically, there are lots of sort of new plugins, initiatives going on. And so the key thing that I think was worth mentioning, since we are in November now, it is NaNoWriMo. So it is National November Writing Month is what that stands for. And so, given we talk about Obsidian is a great tool for writing. So that I think my highlight for this one is just sort of shouting that out. And apparently there's this sort of plugin called Obsidian Word Sprint that will help you if you want to do sort of like, call it time box writing, that kind of thing. And if that's the kind of thing that you've been looking for, then be sure to check this out, the Obsidian Word Sprint plugin. And but otherwise, there's a bunch of other things in here as far as like little ways to, as always, enhance your Obsidian workflow. But I didn't find anything in particular that was otherwise that's applied to my workflow that I felt, I don't know. So my highlight basically for this month or for this roundup is NaNoWriMo. And then, so one of the things I also want to start adding as a segment too, as sort of like as we introduce the episode or session for the day, is any questions from the audience. So I got a write-in here from Jonas here, basically talking about the fact that, so here's the question. So I learned that Dynalist is developed by the same makers of Obsidian and it looks incredibly feature-rich. What are your thoughts on using Dynalist and Obsidian side by side? And which do you think would be better for a developer's user story or project? So this is a great question. For those who don't know, Dynalist is basically a note-taking app that has a bit of a sort of their own opinionated way of how it works. So I guess the easiest way for me is actually to just go ahead and log in and show you. So you can see here that we have the ability to type. So this is my idea. This is an idea within an idea. More, sibling bullet points. And so to you, you're probably thinking like, well, this is like a list. What's so interesting about this? Well, with Dynalist, they sort of have this idea that every bullet really should be its own sort of like note. So you can see here now, all of a sudden I could zoom in on a particular bullet point and then I can start doing more like, sort of more ideas. I can go ahead and I think tag. I'm trying to see. Buddy of mine is much better at using this than I am. And so what's nice about this is you sort of get this ability to really focus in on the specific note rather than it being sort of individual documents. So it works really well for people who love using lists, but then deep diving into that. And then you can link to things as you normally. So here I can link to Instagram. So if you're looking at this actually looks quite similar in experience to Obsidian in some ways. And you'd be right to think that because the creators of Obsidian actually are, I believe, they used to work on Dynalist actually. So I can sort of, it's kind of funny that this question sort of brings up both of them. And so I don't think there's anything wrong with using Dynalist and Obsidian side by side. The only problem I see with the friction of that though is that Obsidian deals with local files, Dynalist has its own database, right? So as far as having the two relate, I think you end up sort of sort of cutting down on your efficiency when it comes to the relationship between your nodes, because all of a sudden you kind of have a trickier time sort of making sure like those relationships exist. So that's a little bit of my hesitancy to have them both. A buddy of mine, I think at one point, was doing Dynalist and Obsidian side by side, especially because I think he did a lot with like linked task lists and that kind of stuff that worked really well in Dynalist that wasn't quite as natively built into Obsidian. But on the other hand, when the question here regarding which would be better for a developer's user story or project, basically I would say it really depends on your note-taking style, but more importantly, what are you trying to do? If you're trying to really capture your learning journey and figure out like recording, code snippets and then having that relate to other things regarding courses and stuff, I think Obsidian is designed a bit better for that kind of environment, especially because with all the plugin ecosystem and everything, like you have the ability to really format and organize things the way that, makes the most sense to create those relationships. On the other hand, if you're talking about project management, that's a little bit trickier because, again, I think with something like Dynalist, you have more collaboration and that kind of thing. And that could be a better use case for that, for having the ability to deep dive. So I would say those are probably the two key use cases I see for it. And so I would say most of the time, probably Obsidian is a better use case for developers over Dynalist. But, anyways, that's my high level insight as far as sort of Dynalist and Obsidian and how you can either be used side by side or how you might use them in specific use cases. So hope that was helpful. So we have another question here from Loud Dove regarding, how's it going, Connor? The timestamp here. So if you notice here inside of Obsidian, when you create checkboxes, right, sort of like task lists, and so like apples, for example, when I go ahead and hit Command Enter, what you're seeing is it's marking it off as complete, and then it's attaching the timestamp here. And the way that works is because of a specific plugin. It is the Obsidian or the task plugin for Obsidian. And so I'm going to go ahead and actually copy this and drop it in the chat. What's up, Ben? All right. So dropping that in the chat, and then let me go ahead and drop that in my note for today since this was mentioned. And so this is basically what's allowing me to basically configure those things. So if you go down into tasks, for example, right here, you'll see here that it'll basically check for different tasks, but then there are basically some built-in features into it as far as like automatically tagging a date so that you can query things. I'm still on the fence as far as like being all in on using Obsidian to do task management, to be honest, because I think any task management over time becomes so robust that the admin overhead becomes basically unbearable. That's what I've seemed to find. And so until we can get that barrier to be super low so that people are only entering tasks and like updating them rather than maintaining this gigantic infrastructure, I think it'll continue to be a little bit tricky to do true task management with Obsidian. But that's a problem that I'm continuing to sort of noodle on and think about. So I'll keep you all updated as I work on that. All right, so we've done questions with audience, and now it's time to dive into the meat of it, which is the Obsidian Dataview plugin. So with that, I wanted to start by going over, again, at a high level, because last week we did a getting started with Obsidian. And so this, I think, is one of the first plugins that we'll get into, because a lot of times when we're thinking about notes and the individual documents we create, over time, I think a natural problem that a lot of people will end up encountering is they want to be able to look at all their notes in some sort of dashboard way. Like they want to be able to aggregate those notes. And you can technically do that with the built-in search. So if we go and open up the side here, you can see that we can look, there's a search term in here. So if I wanted to look, for example, at all the projects all the notes that are tagged project, you can see that I get a list of results here, but it is kind of, the UI for it's a little lacking, I think is the word that I'm looking for, right? And especially because sometimes you want it to be within certain contexts. You don't want to have to like redo this query every time. In fact, this is probably something you want to build up over time, right? Because if I want to look for all my projects that have a status of idea, like this is cool. I have 2 ideas that are, labeled with idea and project. But again, this is something that I want to build up over time. And how can we do that easily? And so there are some built-in Obsidian functionality that I could share with y'all. But honestly, I'm a big believer in enabling people to do the most getting the most out of their effort. So maximum power, least effort. I talk about the Maple principle a lot when it comes to teaching. And so while there is built-in Obsidian functionality to do some Obsidian queries, Obsidian Dataview plugin is my go-to and recommendation. So if you go to community plugins and you look for, let's go ahead and go to browse community plugins, and you look for Dataview, you'll see that it's here by Michael Brennan. This is it's by far one of my most favorite plugins when it comes to Obsidian because of the ease at which it comes to writing those things. So to show you a quick example of what that is, again, we're doing a quick review before we do sort of a deeper dive, is let me open up my sandbox note here. Let me go ahead and just like delete all of this in here. All right. So if we take a look at the sandbox note here, this is a preview. What we want to do is, let's say we're trying to create a dashboard, right, of projects, right? We want to look at the ideas that we have for our project, right? So project ideas. And then I'm a big fan of having emojis to sort of denote that. So here, project ideas. How would I do that? Well, using the Dataview basically prefix here. Oh, wait, I think it's DV actually. For Dataview, what we can do is we can say, oh, I want a list from all my notes that are type project and they are a status of idea. Did I do that wrong? Should it be this instead? Ah, it is like this. Okay, that's it. And believe it or not, like that's all it really took. So for example, if we're like, how do I look at all my backlog? Or, let's say, how about in progress, right? So I'll use the construction project in progress. So that's simple as well. That's just the Dataview prefix. We take a list and then we grab, oh man, it is cranking because it's trying to live interpret everything I'm typing on the right hand side, but it's fine. I got this. Status in progress. Okay. So, hi, what's up, Prince? You came at the perfect time. Excellent. Ooh, so quick so Loud Dove here with a quick productivity workflow thing. How did I get the emoji to show up with the double colon? The way I did that is through the Rocket app. And so Rocket app is an emoji picker that I learned from Westboss. And let me go ahead and drop this in the chat. And it's great because one of the things I found a little bit tricky about emoji pickers and that kind of thing is that, one, a lot of us use a lot of different chat apps these days. And so the single colon often represents the emoji picker. On the other hand, the other problem I found is that when you're in things like VS Code and that kind of thing, sometimes you're just typing something. You don't necessarily want to trigger the emoji. So how can you get around that? Well, if I show you here, if I look at preferences, it actually lets you, this new option, which I love, by the way, is a double key trigger. So not only can you tell it which trigger key to use, but you can say, if I press it twice, then trigger the emoji. And so that's how I'm doing it in here, where I'm going like, okay, so if I want here, then I can look for check, and then, oh, there's white check mark. But what's great about the Rocket app, which is a little bit of a side tangent here, is that I can browse all the emoji here. And so if I'm like, you know what, white check mark is not really great, I want to call it like green check mark, because that's how my brain works. I can actually add an alias in here, just like that. And then in the future now, if I'm like, hey, green, and then green check, there you go, green check mark. And so that to me is one of the selling points of Rocket app, is that beyond being a simply emoji picker, it allows you to sort of customize these sort of things. So, all right. So, all right, let's see. So AJC web dev, not to derail, but I'm stoked for this Shopify Nuxt kit. Oh yes, that is technically, anyways, that is underway, but okay, great. So glad to answer that question for you all. All right, so here's the thing though. So now that we have lists of our, and you see this query is very simple, right? And you might be thinking like, oh, I don't really know SQL queries and that kind of thing. Like, to me, this reads a lot more like, honestly, like the English language, right? I want a list and it's going to be from, and then this is the query it is. Like, this is as simple as it needs to be. And what's great about Dataview is that you can then transform this to be even more than that. So let's say, for example, I don't even want to group it by headings. I just want a giant table of all my projects, but more importantly, I want it to be able to show all the statuses at once. So I can do a table, and then I can tell it to look at the column called status. And so what we'll see here is that all of a sudden the table now has a file name here with a link to the actual file, so the actual note. But on top of that, you see that all the statuses are here too. So now if I strip away status idea and not limit it, you see all of this stuff suddenly shows up, which is great. And so then you're probably thinking, well, like, okay, this is nice, but then what if you want to like group by the status? Well, that's totally something you can do too. So if we go group by status like this, and then rather than status, I'll do, I think it's file.name. Nope, not file.name. File.title. Oh, sorry, rows.file.title. That's what it .name. There we go. It allows you, as you can see, to like actually see that via groups, which is super nice. And so this is a really great way to easily query and see like your notes and stuff in different contexts. And there are a lot of different things we can get into as far as like a true deep dive on DataView as a plugin. But what I wanted to spend time today doing is actually diving into the JavaScript API because, well, I think, so, okay, so let me give you a real problem because I'm always really big on teaching things that have actual contextual value. So because we could always sit there and talk through the various like possibilities of things. But I think having a concrete idea here and problem to solve would be very helpful. So let me show you my Obsidian Office Hours series dashboard. You'll see here that on the rendered side, I have a bunch of ideas for things we could talk about. And then I have like questions here. So actually I realized this question has been answered, so I can actually just remove this. But actually it says something about, you know what, I'm gonna leave this as a reminder because I need a way to track questions that people ask. But then check this out. Here's my episodes table, and it is, golly, is it a mess. Because one, I didn't quite figure out the standard for how I wanted to name things. And so there are a lot of things going on, but the other thing is it's super noisy because I don't need to see Obsidian Office Hours all down like this. Like that's unnecessarily real estate to take up. More importantly, I want to be able to actually sort by like episode number and that kind of thing. But this kind of thing is basically really hard to do without manually breaking up the attributes, because the idea here is you'll look at how specific my file naming conventions are. And part of the reason for that is because when you're searching for files, the context is really helpful. And a sort of a rule of thumb for the developers who are watching this is that it's like you're querying an API. So in other words, actually, you know what? I'm not even going to go the developer route. Let's go a broader route, because if you're not a developer, you would understand this too. If you're ordering something off a menu, you want the name to be unique as humanly possible, because otherwise you run the risk of getting multiple things. So hence, rather than just having like Obsidian Office Hours like 10, right? It's better if I can actually say like, oh, what topic am I talking about? Like, let me look at like when I was talking about templater, right? And then templater actually shows up rather than just like having to memorize that it was like the 17th episode. So the more specific and context you can give in your titles, oftentimes the better it is at ensuring you kind of hit those relationships, especially when you're searching for things. So now I can be like, oh, I actually did an Obsidian Office Hours on templater at one point. Like really easy without even really thinking about it. But here's the thing though, while the file name specificity at that level is incredibly powerful, and I think honestly at this point I would consider it a best practice, the problem is when it comes to querying the notes, it is super, super, super long. And so what I'd like to do is figure out a way for us to programmatically break things, because the way you can see this query, by the way, for episodes is it says, hey, I want you to look at a table, and then we're going to take all of the notes where the series is equal Obsidian Office Hour series. So this is like one of those query parameters you can do. So to show you what that means, so if I go to 00020, for example, you'll see that on the very bottom of my sort of my back matter, you'll see that the series here is this. And so this is one of the things that DataView actually opens up to you, is that you'll notice this double colon property here aside to the basically the string here, the series or date. And what that does is it becomes an attribute on the entire document. So in other words, it's something that you can actually display. So if I come here and add like, let's add areas, for example, like this, you'll see that it actually shows all like, because it basically becomes queryable. And so the equivalent of doing this is you could technically put it in front matter. That's a way to do it. But again, I am not a big fan of making front matter very long, because it makes it kind of hard, because then you push all your data to the bottom. So all these sort of attribute things, as much as humanly possible, I honestly keep to the bottom. That said, I can't really customize the name. This is one of my biggest complaints, because here I'd really prefer to rearrange the table so that one is organized by episode number and not by the title, right, basically. And so we're gonna dive into the JavaScript API, because that's where we can open up some of the possibilities for this and figure out ways to really clean up the data so we can get just what we need and then without cluttering up our data anymore. Okay, so first thing first, actually this is in progress. We're actively streaming as we speak. And yeah, let's go ahead and take a look. So if we open up DataView, Obsidian Docs. So I believe it's this way here. Here we go. All right, so the JavaScript API. So the way the JavaScript API works basically is that you still do the code block with the data view as I showed you earlier, but you append the JS to it. And then after that, it opens up a whole API for you to do things. So let's see, code block examples. So we can see here that it allows us to grab a series of pages and then group them by headings that are programmatically generated inside of that, which to me, this is exciting. So this is good. So how about this? I think the first thing we're going to do is just see if we can duplicate what we've done using JavaScript instead. So let me go ahead and just yes, I'm going to do it like this. Okay. So inside of our Obsidian here, I'm going to go ahead and then above here, we're going to do a DataviewJS block. And so what we want to do is first we want to here, let me copy and paste a different code snippet that I was actually testing out earlier. If I can just, here we go. All right, let's copy paste this. Okay, so when we're inside of here, remember everything in here is JavaScript. So can I just, let me temporarily do the syntax highlighting here. And so in case you're wondering what just happened there, by using JavaScript at the beginning of the ticks, it told the block to actually use code syntax highlighting so that things are a little bit easier to read. And so, okay, so inside of here, we have the ability to declare the pages, right? This is a variable, and in fact, I can just say a const pages equals DataView.pages, and then get the pages that match this specific query. So in this particular case, I want to actually grab everything that has, let's see, how are we sorting this? Grab pages where, I wonder if this will work. No, this is not a query. So what I want to do, how do we want to do this? We are going to figure this out. Looks like I'm looking for something that has, it's a type of content. So that's fine. Okay, we'll grab all of our content pages. And then the pages here, what does it have exposed to us? That's what we want to find out. So I've talked about this before, but because we're inside of a web app, I can actually log the pages bit. So let me go ahead and actually I'm just going to comment this part out so that we don't get weirdness. And then I'm going to open up the dev tools on the right here. And then if we go ahead and render this, we'll see, oh, sorry, I need to take away the JS. Okay, so it looks like we get a huge array of things dot value. This is great. So we get a bunch of content. This is awesome. But what I'm kind of curious about is now that we have the pages, it must come with some functions, right, that we can use by default. So these are the values, default comparator, settings, maybe not settings, handler. Because here's my theory, is the pages have functionality. They can do like group by. So let's take a look at the API docs overview. Oh, reference. Here we go. So the pages here is the source, right? So if we take the source, we can look at folder. It looks like we can pull it by tags. Okay, so the query language is quite similar. Okay, so actually I know what I could do here. What I could do, these are rendering tags. These are views. These are utilities. File IO, normalize. Okay, so what I can do then, I believe, is say and then I'm going to link it to Obsidian office hours. So in other words, I want to find all of the notes that have the tag type content and that are also tagged with Obsidian office hours. So if I take a look at this, so let me see, let me actually prefix this. And then now we have a list of values, okay? Then what we should be able to do is say, let's see, how do we do? dv.list pages. I think that'll do it. Oh, wait, I keep forgetting. Take that out. And then, okay, that kind of worked. Kind of worked because it's gigantic. No, we didn't want that. We want pay list. Oh, I broke something. dv list pages. dv.pages.file.name returns. Oh, okay. So what I need to do is call. So I don't want to print everything. I want to only take the specific pages, and then I'm gonna take file dot name, just like that. If that works, oh, I broke something. Hang on. What did we break? All right, dv.list pages should be good. Is it because we ran it already? Oh, it's because we ran it already. I'm being silly. Okay, file.name. Okay, this is good. Okay, this is actually pretty good. So we have a bunch of stuff here that are tagged. That's good. And so, okay, let's do this a little bit better now. Now that we're actually rendering a table. Oh, wrong thing. Now that we're running a list right now. But it's interesting though. Rather than just the name, I want a list of the links. So here we go. This is much better. So I don't want anything from the template. So I'm going to go ahead and add a query here. And not in the templates folder. Oh, wait, will that work? No, I need single quotes. Okay, and then that save. Oh, did not like that. What is happening here? So type content and Obsidian offers and minus template. This should be valid, but hang on, let's just assume it's not. Okay, this is good. Does that show up? Okay, great. And so Jacob, if you didn't get the answer to that question, no, it does not work if you prepend it with JavaScript, unfortunately. So I don't know how to get it to trigger the code syntax highlighting otherwise, but sadly it does not work. So, all right, let's see. Okay, so inside of here, we know that we can grab the list. That's fine. And then task list is a thing. I'm not going to worry about that right now. Table sort, I'm okay with that. But what I want to do is I want to negate it. Oh, look. Oh, here's interesting. Here's the where clause. DV pages where series. Oh, okay. Here we go. That's a better query then. So here's what I'll show you. So what I'm saying here is that rather than just sort of saying anything that's tagged with content and includes a link to Obsidian Office Hours, we can say take the content where the series is equal to Obsidian Office Hours series. And now let me take away the console log. This should be cleaner. I keep forgetting to remove the prepend. That is not good. Where series equals this. Why did it not like that? Where P, okay, so this is it requires a callback function. Okay, where page equals, and then returns a function where page.series equals that. Didn't like that either. Where page returns a function and then lists all the with rating p.series. Well, okay, how about if I just do page.series? Whoa! Okay, that was too much. But what we could do, could it be escaping on series? That is totally possible. We're about to find out. I want to debug this. Console.log page. Should it be a string? That is a good question. So return page.series equals. Okay, so now we're actually going to do JavaScript now. So then it's going to be Obsidian Office Hours series. Okay, take away the JavaScript. I swear I'm going to make this mistake like a bunch of times today. Okay, cleaner. Much cleaner. Okay, I'm happy with this. This is good. Okay, so there's a couple things though that we need to figure out because this is not quite what we want though. Because we don't want just the link, right? We want the ability to see, I want to actually see the pages. So let me log pages actually real quick. Because here's the thing, we want to eliminate cruft. And so I actually, in a perfect world, I wanted it just to say episode 20, right? And then like there can be a section for the topic because to me, those are the two pieces to this. So if that's the case, then we know, wait, did I log it? Did I log page? Let me, pages, comma. Oh, here's pages, here's the proxy. Here's the target values. Why is it empty? That doesn't make sense. It should totally have a length to it because I'm rendering it. Pages.file. Yeah, why isn't it logging pages correctly? Oh, wait. Did I break something? You know what? I'm just gonna delete this. I can recreate it if I really want. Oh, yeah, I broke something. It did not like that. So pages.series. Okay, so that didn't work. So if that's the case, then we can log page. Forget that log. Render that out. Okay, so we have a bunch of stuff here. We get file, series path. Okay. Oh, so series is a link, interestingly enough. So we have dates. Oh, there's this series. Okay. Still a link though, but we know series.path. Okay. So what if instead we go return, should have been Jacob here, FYI pages, not templates and not client. Pages is a data view object. You need to use your special function to render it. Yeah. Okay. Yep. Okay. I'm good with that. So what I want to do here though is I want to return the page where the series.path is equal to Obsidian office hours series. Okay. So would this work? Oh, I swear I'm going to keep making that mistake. Cannot evaluate path. That's bummer because it's right here. Is it that they don't all have that? That they don't all have a series. So if page.series, then return like that. I could do a check, I guess. Return. Oh, here we go. Much better. But then that's a little bit weird. Oh, because the series is here, the series content here. Okay, this is accurate then. This is actually an accurate list. Okay, that's good. I'm happy with that query. That's not too bad then. If the page contains a series, return it with the path. Okay, that actually makes sense. I'm okay with this. This is good. So then we have the list. Okay, but here's the thing I do need to figure out is that we have things like file.name and there's file.link. So the link here, where is link? Platforms, push, series, URL. Wait. Oh, rows.file. Okay. So what I need is the file then at that point. Pages. Oh, here's the file. File is here. And then the link is here. And then the link contains a path to everything. Type file. How do we build this? Because we want an internal link. Inline link. Okay, so what are we going for here? We are going for the ability for us to take this data and break it down. So for example, so let's start to do this first. One, we have the ability to do tables. So I wanted to deep dive into this. So tables is the one that to me is the most interesting because what we get is the ability to basically start to group things, and I'll show you what I mean. So file here, so dv.table allows you to then basically define a bunch of headings at the top, tells you the pages that it's going to pass, and then map it through and returning these specific attributes. Okay, I can work with that. So how does that work exactly? Well, let's see. We have a for group by. This is the headings, but I don't want that. I want, I just want this. So we have div.table. And then we know for a fact that we have a property called status. And then that is done. And then inside of here, we get past the other thing, which is pages. And then we'll go ahead and say we'll map it for every page in here. Then we'll do p.file.status like this. And if this works the way I think it does, and then I stop making that mistake. Okay, this is good because at the bare minimum, I didn't totally botch that. We have one thing here. Let's see. All right. Let's see. Jacob here with the reference here, dv.array. Data arrays are returned that can return multiple results. Join. Oh, wow. Group by. Okay. Yep. That's good to have. All right. So let me throw that in here. And then dv. Okay. This is. Oh, yep. This is what I want. All right. This is the filing. Contextual. dv.filing path, you can optionally specify if the link is embedded as well as its display name. Okay, right, because what I want to do is display all of the files correctly in the name. So what I could do is I can say, okay, so let's try this name, right? This is a column for name. And then to show you this works, I'll say static name. And then I realize we need to prefix this so people can read stuff. So we're returning an array with this, this, and this. Okay, so that's that. Pages, map. Yep, that should work. Return. Okay, so you can see here that I'm already seeing a little bit of progress, which is that we can actually start to populate things based on how we want it to, rather than being constrained to the original one. So now that we know this for a fact, this does mean that this map function is going to need to be a little bit more. So what I'm seeing here then is probably something like this. Okay. So I'm gonna want to do is honestly, let's log p, and actually I'm just gonna call it page. I'm not a huge fan of single letter variables. Okay, remove. Okay, ton of things broke. Row is not iterable. That's fine. What we do know about what we just learned is that every single page comes with a couple of things. It comes with the file dot name. Okay, here we go. So this is good because here we go. So I say const file name equals page.file.name. Okay. But then from here, this is where we can break it up. So I know for a fact that we are looking for the episode number. And the episode number comes at basically the end. So what I'm looking for is a regex of parentheses and 3 digits. So if I do this right, actually I can test this real quick. So const, I just realized this is gonna be a little small, so let's clear that up. Clear. Oh, okay. So I could do const episode number equals, let's see, regex. It would be parentheses d, just like that. So let's check this real quick in a regex 101 to test this real quick. All right, so basically what we want is build with Ben 010, for example, Obsidian office hours 020, for example, and then test, right? And so what we want to do is digit, isn't D for digit, D is for digit. Oh, back for, yep, 1, 2, 3. Okay, that captures this group, but I need to actually, actually, I guess I don't need it. I just need the triple number, but nope, I want the actual literal parentheses. How do I do this? Literal parentheses. Do match. Oh, it's in the square brackets. Okay. So like this, and then like that. Okay, now we captured everything. We've captured that and that. Excellent. So now we've captured the episode numbers. So what I could do then is run that inside of here. So let's see, episode regex is this. And then I believe then we can say the episode number is file name dot must test things. So my test 010 dot find how do we get regex? It's been a little bit while since we've done this. Match would just give string. I want to actually return the thing. Assertion, character class group. Yeah, I don't need all that. I just need to, I think because match only gives me search, replace. Nope, I literally just want to splice it out. Test? I think thesis is right. Okay, so test. There we go. So here we go. We give it the regular expression, true. Oh, this is the true, but I want the ability to grab the piece of it. So what I want to be able to do, find index of is probably the key here. I'm trying to see. Okay. So page, an array of matches. Okay, so I was right. Okay, so file name dot match episode regex like that, and then let's log the episode number and see what we get. This should be a little bit cleaner, clean, and go. Did not like episode number is not defined. Episode regex is here. Episode number, I can't type. Okay, so let me go ahead and refresh that. It didn't like any of that. Why? Bum, bum, bum. Oh, here we go. It just took a second. Okay. Null. Here we go. Yeah. Okay. This is perfect. We got it. And this is exactly what we want, because you see that we actually got the entire string, which is great. Awesome. Okay. So actually, I think if I understand this right, the regex right, what I get here instead is now I get two groups. Ha! See, this is where the regular expressions I did, the little studying I did, starting to pay off. So here's what's happening. So basically what we have here is the regex that checks for 3 digits. And so the square bracket here just says make sure it includes a parentheses, opening and closing parentheses. But then these parentheses here say to capture this group specifically, meaning I want to refer to it later. So that way I don't have to splice it. So now you can see the episode number is actually right here, basically as, which is great. So I just want the first one because I want the first group that's caught, which then means, which is, so check this out. We can then say return. So I'll use the ES6 template literal for this. Episode number is going to be what we return. And then we're going to put the page.file.status here. And then if I return rats here. No, hold up. Episode number match. Oh, of course. Because not all of them have it. So what I'm trying to say is if match. Oh, okay. Got it. If this. Oh, man. Okay, hold on. Episode number result. Const episode number equals. If episode number result is true, then give me episode number result. Give me the first one. That work? Dang it. Return. Why doesn't it like to return? Oh, wait. Else. Missing. Hey! Yes! Ha! It worked! I forgot to complete the ternary expression. Okay, this is good because now we can start to do some magic. The only thing I need to do right now is let's convert what we have here so that it's an actual... Okay, this is what's a little tricky. Now I need to actually make sure that the thing being returned is an actual link. So I think this is where Jacob had actually given us a little bit of a hint here regarding the ability to render said documentation. So where was that? I had it. Okay, not this. Okay, file link. dv.fileLink converts a textual path into a data view link object. You can optionally specify if the link is embedded as well as its display name. Okay, I'm fine with that, but I could have used a little bit more context. So the only way we're going to figure this out, I think, is to jump back in. And so the log is gone. And let's go ahead and log back out the page. So now if I clear my console, show this. Okay, so we have a bunch of files. And we actually have the link file.link here. But the difference is this display undefined. So that means there must be a way to put that in, I guess, because it'll be file page.file.link, but then we want to give it a specific display string because that's what I want to do. Path. What is this embed? It's optional. It's embedded. But it also is a path. Okay. So the path then, is that something I can get? File. Okay, file.path. Okay. File path exists. Okay. So then, based on that theory, I'm going to say const file new file. Oh, sorry. Yes. New file link. I'm going to say short or updated file name equals dv.pageLink. I think is what they said. File link. Where we take the page.file.path embed, and then the display name. See if this works. And the display name should be this. I have a feeling this is not going to work, but I'm going to try it anyways. Updated file name. Okay. Render. Oh, wait. Yeah. Render. Oh, what happened there? Something funky happened. Okay, thesis here in the chat. Can we reuse regular MD links? I think we can. Well, not with the way I think DataView renders the JavaScript stuff. This should, I was really hoping this would work. DB file link, page.file.path. I mean, all right, hold up. Let's add another attribute for path, page.file.path. I'm gonna keep making that mistake. Okay, so here, interesting. We see the path here, and then we see this here. But what I want to do is actually link it to something. Although, actually, I just realized it stopped giving me, one, this is not a link, and two, it did not utilize the new episode number that I did. So that's not right either. DB to file, link, path, display name, everything is what you want. Ah, okay, false. Go. Ah, gonna keep messing that up. Okay, episode missing. Good. Heck yeah. Jacob with the clutch. Okay, so yeah, it's an optional parameter, but you need to pass something to it. That's kind of weird to me. Need a plugin that removes JS when rendering. Okay, so yeah, seriously, that would be awesome. Okay, so this is good. The reason why I say it's good is because now inside of here, actually let's remove the path. Let's clean up the clutter a little bit. So that's better. So now if I come in here real quick, and I just realized if there is no episode number, it really shouldn't show up at all. So I would say, I'd be willing to say if episode number exists, null. I'm gonna say null. If episode number exists, then return it. Otherwise, you really should exclude all the other files. It did not like that. Did not like that one bit. -1? Okay. Not great. Yeah, this should not still show up. This is what I don't like about this. Because it doesn't, it's not an official, this is just a status. This is just an idea. But I wanted to actually make it very clear. You know what I'm going to do? Actually, you know what I realized? I'm going to stop tagging anything that's not, I think that's what I do. I think my IA is slightly off. I shouldn't be tagging ideas that don't have things. Okay, so here, for example, now if I switch it over to this shows up now, episode 10. Great. And what's great about this now is I can go ahead and we can do other things too, because I can also now talk about the topics that I had. Because now this is what I'm talking about. This is why the programmatic piece is helpful, is because now I can actually do a little bit more in terms of the topic. And then the topic is actually going to be so let's see, the regex on this, interestingly enough, if we log out the episode number result, we'll see, here we go. When we render this, we see that it actually gives us the index of where it starts. And actually it makes sense that it's always 22 now that I think about it, because it's always prefixed with the Obsidian office hours, which is the same number of characters. So theoretically, if I only have 4 more to go, this would mean that we could say that if we do const topic equals, it'll be the file name dot substring, where we take the index of the, although, how does this work? It's an array, but it also has a property on it. That's a little weird. But anyways, episode number result dot index plus parentheses 1, 2, 3, 5. Okay, so if that's the case, like that, and we put topic here, then update it. Yeah. Cannot read index of null. I did not like that. All right, so I'm just gonna actually hard code this because I'm pretty sure it's always gonna be 27. Hey, okay, not too shabby. Because now you can see we're actually seeing the label. Although, why is it a list item? That's surprising to me. Why did it render that way? Why? But okay, that's cool because now we have the substring there, and then we cut off everything else. So basically what we've proven in this is that all of my episodes correctly have a topic. Everything else that hasn't been named correctly is understandably not doing the right thing. But that's okay. Okay, because then this means, okay, we can simplify this. Hold on, follow me here. I got this. If we switch out the name for the episode number, because that's the thing that it has an actual order to me, then I would say episode number here is that. But then if episode number, not only would we do that, we'd actually, oh, this is the slight problem because it won't be a true number. I bet this is going to screw up the thesis here. Want to be easier to replace Obsidian office hours. Oh, in this particular case, yes, we totally could. I just wanted to play around with some regex because I wanted the field in the table to be a type of number and then would sort by that. Although, oh no, that actually would work. So what I can do actually is, rather than do that, I think I can just pass episode number here. And then when we render this, great, this is good. But then what I want to do here is we want to sort it by the episode number. So here's the only thing I'm trying to think. Now that we have the map, then I believe there's a sort by function. A sort B via rating. Okay, so I want to sort by, oh man, please don't tell me I have to redo that whole thing. But okay, we'll figure this out. Sort all of the pages where we're going to sort by this episode number. Oh man. Wouldn't it be easier? Please don't. Can't you sort by date? From Elena. Yeah, we totally could. Yeah, that would probably be okay. So actually we're actually still in good hands if we're gonna do that, because then we can return page.file.date, I think. So now if we go ahead and render this, oh, did not like that. Sort log page. Show me what you got. We got a bunch of links. Oh, interesting. Display embed. So at this point, it's very, very different. Okay. So that's fascinating to me because we've gotten to the point where we've broken down the episode number, which, again, I could have just done a substring because I know exactly what position it usually is in. Page 0. Well, if you do 0, this is the link, but then you'll see that there's nothing under it. Oh, file name 2 embed 2 file 2 object 2 string with display 1 2 3. No, it's actually taking oh, I get it. When you're taking the sort, you're taking it by the page display. Yes. Okay. Sorry. So to Jacob's point here, what we could totally do right now is do it like, so we can do sort by where page dot and page takes the first property. So you're sorting by the property. Remember that you're not sorting by like, it can't be an arbitrary property that doesn't exist. Once you're sorting, it's because you basically DataView assumes that it's one of these 3 columns at the top. So in that case, page 0 display will give us just a string. And so if we take a look at what this looks like, what we'll notice here is that this looks better now. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. But then how would I switch the, let's say I want to do reverse chronological, right? I want the most recent one on top. Then it's fairly easy to do, to reverse sort with parse int. Yes, but if we parse int, I want to flip it though. Because you can, so, okay, to show you my point, the easier way to do so this work. Okay, that's good. So if I were to do this in regular data view, right? So this is why the syntax actually is very powerful. So if I go status date, for example, these two from type content where series is equal to Obsidian office hours. This is why I've been hesitating to do the JavaScript, honestly. So if it's like this, you'll see it actually shows up quite nicely, very, very prettily. Here's all my Obsidian office hours where the series is equal to that. And then as you can see here, all the dates are right here. And then the nice thing about it is then from that, I can just go sort by date ascending. And then, wait, sort, I thought it was sort by. Is it not? Oh, sort like this? Okay, sort. And then I can do descending, which flips everything. Super, super easy. But because we're in JavaScript land, it looks like there's no... You think there'll be a parameter then to the sort function. Can we look at the page? Pages. Where's the sort function? Is that what you were sending me earlier? Sort key direction. Ha! I was right. Okay, thank goodness. So this means that this sort function that we have here, we can pass in a second parameter, which is whether it's descending or not. So if that works the way I want it to, I don't think that worked. Ascending? That didn't work either. String sort key. Oh, wait. Oh, I am using sort. Key array function direction comparator. T pass sort has a second param. Security sort. It is descend. Oh, is it the caps that's screwing it up? Oh, it is the caps that's screwing it up. That's interesting. I would have made that case insensitive. Okay, great. Worked exactly as we wanted. So thank you. Help in the chat. So we have that here. It's now descending. And the reason why I was saying that is I was using the 020 as a way to actually sort the strings, because for those who haven't done any development before, like if you're sorting by, basically to show you, let me open my sandbox note, like when it sorts by string, it'll go, so let's say you have like 1, 2, let me just go higher, 7, 8, 9, 10. It'll see the 1 in the 10 and it'll bump it all the way. It'll go like, oh, it's a 1. It'll bump it all the way up here. So then it'll be like next to like 1, 2, 3, for example. I can't remember the exact order. Maybe it starts here like this. And then it's just kind of weird. So we want it to be actually numeric by the sort. So we have that, which means to me, what we can actually do is we can put number around episode number, which means actually I'm very excited now. Yes, now I have the episode number exactly as I want, and I can actually probably start to simplify my numbering system, which is great. So now that in the event I really get past 1,000 episodes, which will be quite a lot of recordings, then at least I don't have to worry about that. So I really could probably just do like this, and that would still work. Oh wait, that just gives +1 reg. What's the shortcut for the plus regex? I believe it's like 1 or more of. Yeah, okay, 1 or more of. Perfect. Then the plus was the correct regex. So basically, I'll take any number of digits in here. So to prove that this works, this means that let's say this -1 right here. This is session 8. But if it were to say be session 9, like this giant number 92948, what we should see over here is that 92948 jumps right up. Ah, that works perfectly now. Because previously what I was doing from the regex was I was literally looking for 3 digits. Now I don't even have to worry about that. So now I can literally just go like this. And this will be the 8th episode, which is awesome. Although I don't mind this, so I'm just going to do that. 008, I've gotten used to seeing the triple digit, but that's cool. There we go. Boom, 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 boom. And then, yes. Okay, so this is, okay, so as you can see, the JavaScript in this piece is very useful because you're trying to manipulate how the data will be rendered. It's still weirding me out a little bit, though, that, kind of interesting. Okay, first thing first, we have this part. What I want to do is, I'm still missing properties though, because previously I actually saw the status episode and whether like I'd published it or not. or whether it's still like in progress. So why is the status not showing up? That's what we need to ask next. That's the next question. So here, page.file.status, it did not like this property. So it's basically saying that does not exist. So page.file is what we're going to log to the console right now. And so if I go ahead and do that, and then let's render, oh, let's not do this, let's render. Okay, so we get the file. The path is here. Oh, interesting. Status is not a part of this. I'm a little surprised because this is definitely a property. So the day is here. That's good. Task. Okay, this looks more like the standard object. But what I want is not... Okay, maybe I just want the page then. Maybe that was my mistake. Let me switch that out. Are you going to log? Please log for me. It's not logging anything. Is this taking a second? All right, in the meantime, real quick. Wait, no, why is the page not showing up? Is status a tag or an actual file property? It is a file property. It's one of the double colons. So I'm a little wondering as to why it suddenly stopped. There we go. Now we get a bunch of hellos. So why can't I get the page? Ah, here we go. Okay, it's just like glitching out on me. Okay, so it looks like they... Oh. Okay. So it seems that when you get into the page.file, this is where you're getting to the standard Obsidian file itself, meaning that all of the magic that it is doing for you. So you can see actually here, all of these things, areas, date, format, platform, series, these are all things I've actually defined. So to show you the corresponding to that, so if we open up episode 20 right here, you'll see, here we go, series matches series here, date here. And then what's interesting is that it has correspondingly created the same properties under the lowercase as well. So this is where status should theoretically live. But not all episodes have statuses. I think that's part of the problem. But then it shouldn't... Okay, well anyways. So if my hypothesis holds true, this means that rather than page.file.status, we should want page.status itself. And that... There we go. Now we actually see the status property, which is helpful. But we're in JavaScript now. We can make this better. So what we can do is we can say, okay, now I'm going to need my highlighting back here. We're going to say const page status. I'm going to say original page status is page.status, but then we want to do a couple of things. We want to strip out the status. So, okay, here we go. So I'll say const status prefix is equal to this. That's what this is. And then we want to actually take everything from that forward. So the status tag is going to be the page.status. Okay, so I realize I'm just going to delete this. Page.status.substring. And then we're going to go this many characters in for it. So status prefix.length. This is actually what's going to be the status tag. And if we do this, if I did this correctly, this should shorten it up a little bit. Did not like that. File.name. Page.status is a string. Oh, wait. Is it? Did I mess up? No. What did I mess up? Page.status. Oh. Yes, must take care of the undefined use cases. Oh no, still doesn't like it. Why did it not like it? Did not like that. Status prefix.length. But page status should have done it. That should have done the check. Because if it doesn't exist, is it case sensitive? No, it has both. So once again, if I showed page.status here, and let's comment this out, we can actually see everything showing up here. All right, thanks a lot, Dove. Appreciate you stopping by. All right, so that's not the problem. The problem is something else. Yeah, that should be the check to be like, if page status exists, then do this thing. Because it clearly shows up. Let me log type of page.status. It should be just a string, I would imagine. Once again, forgetting that. Undefined string. Okay. Yeah, that's fine. But then that's the whole point of that, the check that Thesis had suggested. Okay, so we're gonna use the operator. Okay, that works. Let's try that out. So what Thesis is proposing here is page question mark dot status, and then if that exists, then do the substring, I guess. See if this works. Broke. So what if we put this question mark here? Okay, so maybe we don't even need to put the question mark here, just on status. Okay, so interesting. So basically if the, oh, okay, I think that makes sense now. Okay, so for the JavaScript nerds in the chat, I think the reason that broke is because the way to make this work is like this. And then that's what I think Thesis was saying. Check for status. If that's true, then otherwise. Because then now, if we switch it back, oh, it still doesn't like that. So for some reason, it's still returning it. Interesting. Okay. It is what it is. All right, so we can just do the check directly with the question mark. That should do the trick. Okay. Now, I can now render out status tag. Oh, looking so much better. Okay, the only thing is I need to title case. This is so much better. Oh, I'm so happy. This is much easier for me. But, okay, here's the next part that's really fun that I want to show you. So here we have a bunch of stuff. It's fine. And then we have in progress. It shows, so one, the reason I think this is useful, and you see that these dashboards with DataView make it very, very obvious when you have views that are useful to you in a certain way. And then more importantly, you want to do something like with that data. So you can see I have a bunch of gaps in here. So I don't have a good archive of what I talked about in each episode and what's going on. So this is good. But then what I probably want to do, so this is just like a generic list. But what I probably want to do here is I wanted to group by this stuff. So now that I've done all this stuff, I can, so, all right, here we go. For every header, okay, here we go. If I understand how this works correctly, then we have a table here. All right, so check this out. Okay, for let group of pages dot group by, and we're going to group by, for every page, we'll group by page dot status. And then this could be a disaster, but we'll figure it out shortly. All right. Inside of here, we'll render out the according table, but we'll do it based on the group dot rows. Oh gosh, I hope I don't totally botch this. dv.header group.key. All right, hold on to your butts. Let's see what happens. No! Oh, wait. I know what that is. Hang on. 3. Ha! Yes! Oh, it feels good when it works on the first try. Woo! That feels excellent. Check it. What this has done with the data view now that we have the JavaScript piece is it's actually allowed us to render out headings based on a specific property. To me, this is the holy grail of like the group by, because now I can be very specific with how I want things to be rendered out. So more importantly, /status/idea, not a huge fan of that, to be honest. So I'm going to say the const heading is going to be group.key. We're going to go ahead and substring out the status length. So whatever, I'm just going to do it. So it's the substring out this dot length, and then capitalize, I believe that should work. And then we should throw the heading in here. Substring of undefined. It did not like that. Group key question mark. No. All right, hang on. Ha! Better. Idea, in progress, published. Argneka first try. Yes, I'm very happy that worked on the first try. But look! Oh, it's so pretty. And now that I have this This means that this table no longer needs a status because it's grouped by heading, which is awesome. So I can do that. Status tag is gone. So that status tag is gone. This means that actually this logic belongs up here. So we have the status prefix, we have the status tag. I can delete that. I can put status tag here. That's 1, 2, 3. There's the header with a, so the reason it broke earlier is you need to actually tell it what level of heading you want. So we want 3 because I know for a fact that episodes here is heading 2. So now that I have that and I render, Ay. What did I do? Oh, I know what I did. It's not page. It's group.key. And then just like that, that should do the trick. Magic, magic. Yep. Now we have it all. Although I could have sworn there was a JavaScript title case. Isn't I thought there was a JavaScript MDN capitalized. There is capitalized. I thought there was like a built-in functionality to format. And I'm saying that because I read it. I'm pretty sure I read it recently. JavaScript string format built in. Nope. Oh, text formatting. 2 uppercase. Here, like char of 2 uppercase. Capitalize. Dang. Okay, never mind. Ignore me. Okay. This is so good. All right. So as we can see now, I've actually created an episodes section that's useful to me because I can see what's broken, what's missing. I have no idea why this is showing up as list though, I will say. That's a little bit weird. Can we CSS it? Oh, probably. I mean, if we inspect the element, it's an H3 span and we just did text transform. Oh, maybe that's what I was thinking of. I was thinking of text transform. I was thinking of the wrong thing. So if we did that, I do wonder though. Let's see. It's usually they have a capitalize. Oh, okay, capitalize does it all. Ooh, I like it. But the thing is how can we add? Okay, now I'm super nerding out. Let's hold on. Can we actually attach a CSS class to this? That would be pretty cool if we could. The heading gets a level in the text. Yeah, it doesn't. Is it a piece of text that starts with a dash? No, that's remove the dash and it would work, I think. No, the dash is because there's no status on those episodes right now. But can we do block CSS? I think the block does block CSS work? Oh man, if it does, I'm about to be. All right, here we go. Border 2px solid red. Go. Nope. It looks like it's just show. Does it mean it? Does it embed CSS? No. It looks like it's just a code block. The ones are. Oh, if it begins with a dash. Oh. Oh man, I think Jacob is totally right. The reason it's a list item is because I am only doing the substring at this point, whereas if it's space dash that, then I do it to 30. This would then mean all the list disappears. Ho! Who would have thunk it? It actually respects the markdown in it, which is very impressive, to be honest. Oh yeah, this is so much more useful to me. I can't even begin to tell you the fact that we can do this. Now that I can break it down, this will let me do much more organization in a very healthy way. So I obviously have a lot of cleanup to do, no question about that. But it is a little sad though. I wonder how I would want to like build in some CSS to like update this, because if we could then capitalize it. But there are worse things to do, honestly, and what I could just do is okay, heck with it. Let's to wrap up, we're gonna make sure all our tags are capitalized correctly. So let me go ahead and switch over, go back to the JavaScript. Sadly, that did not work. I was hoping. Header tag. Okay, so status tag already, we have the status tag, but I'll say pretty status tag is going to be status tag dot split, because I know that I have a dash in it. So this will basically give us an array. And then we're going to map the whole thing. So for every word in it, we're going to return the word, the first character, that to uppercase. I can't ever remember, like that plus the word substring 1. And so if this works, then we can join it with a space. All right, let's see if this works on the first time. First status tag render. Did not like it. Okay, did not like the split because it might not exist. Word.substring is not a function. Okay, so it really didn't like that. If it is split, I mean test.split. Yeah, it just gives me an array. So map. Okay, let me make sure my logic here is good. Oh, does not like that. Oh, I can't spell. That's the problem. Substring. Yeah, that'll do it. All right. There we go. Much prettier. Publish, in progress, idea, and then this mumbo jumbo that I need to requires attention. Taking text and rendering, expecting markdown. Can we add class to our CSS div header? Yeah, a thesis. It doesn't look like the API lets you do that. So here is the div level text, but you're totally right. It would be great if we had a third option to attach the CSS to it, because it's already rendering out the H3. Nothing's stopping it from, you know what it would take? If I were to design this API, we would add a config object that would allow you to attach attributes to the header. That would be great. But that said, this is already a world of improvement for me. And so I think this is a good point for us to start to wrap up. So let me go ahead and switch over to intermission. Okay. Well, that has been a lot of fun. I know that it can be a little bit jarring sometimes switching back between different, like how we can render things with DataView. But for those who are new to it, basically what I think the important thing to take away from DataView is that it allows you to take all the notes that you've written, right? And remember when I talked about it doesn't matter what folders in the getting started session, like this is about the ability for you to say, hey, we're going to go ahead and see how we want to organize our data, and then we're going to aggregate it in a way that's useful for us, and then over time it'll grow organically. So as I add more Build with Ben episodes, this should automatically populate my dashboard. And that's the way I think it's important for us to treat DataView. And again, there are very simple syntax. So if you're thinking like, oh my gosh, I don't want to write all that JavaScript, it's totally fine, right? The thing I did here is because I have a very specific formatting I'm trying to do, right? As far as splitting file names and that kind of stuff, I'm trying to reduce administrative overhead, hence the programming. But otherwise, don't forget, DataView can always be done as simply as this, where you just have table, you mark a couple of your columns. Again, we'll do a deep sort of like, I think I'll do a proper video to teach how DataView is used. But as far as the office hours, I thought it'd be fun for us to dive into the JavaScript part, which can be a little bit tricky. So that said, yeah, it's been a lot of fun hanging out with everyone. Big thanks to Thesis, Jacob, and crew for helping to catch my errors and helping to get us through to the finish line, because it was a little shaky there for a little bit. As far as the schedule next week, we'll have Build with Ben on Tuesday and another Obsidian office hours on Thursday as usual. So if you want to check out the official schedule, benkozen.io/schedule should have the latest and greatest. But if you think something's missing, don't hesitate to DM. So with that, thanks everyone for hanging out today. It's been an absolute blast. Hope you all have a wonderful day and a fantastic weekend. Talk to y'all later.